All right, Shalom. We're going to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Yahweh is the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Bahashem, meaning in the name. Yahweh Shai is the true, holy, and powerful name of his only begotten Son, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel. Starting off with the elect within the nation of Israel. Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as you Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the nations where you've been scattered to, but are Israelites. And we also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. All right, and I'm the brother you call, and I got the elder bro, Abamath, and I got the brother,
the brother Zakaria.
Kind of some special guests out here through the Spirit out here with us in Des Moines. And we coming together through the Holy Spirit to do a lesson going over this article that I came across earlier today from RT.com entitled "The Last War, How a U.S.-Russia Conflict Will Play Out." Right, and we know that according to biblical prophecy that this will be the war to end all wars. All right, Russia and America going at it. It's been throughout the news the past couple of weeks. All right, about the conflict going on in Ukraine. Okay, you got NATO trying to expand and aren't taking heed into Russia's warnings of invading certain territories and so on and so forth. And Russia's not going for it, all right? But these things are going to ultimately escalate into a nuclear conflict, which they're going to mention in this article here. But I'm going to keep reading here. It says, hundreds of formidable tanks rolling down hills, thousands of high-caliber guns, unleashing devastating artillery barrages, apocalyptic nuclear explosions, millions of deaths, and indescribable sufferings. That would be how any potential military conflict between U.S. and Russia would play out. RT explains why direct military confrontation between the two countries would not help solve a conflict, but instead be likely a world-ending catastrophe. All right, and that's pretty much true right there, man. All right, but as it is written, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So this World War III is going to be the end of this age of Esau's rulership and the beginning of the age of the rulership of the Israelites, starting off with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, King David. All right, and so on and so forth. Everybody in their order, man. But through the Spirit, man, we're going to go into some precepts going into this World War III, all right, because this is all biblical prophecy. And I guess I'll start off with that Isaiah 9. As a matter of fact, I'll leave this up on the screen.
Read it for you.
Khan, if you don't mind, Bible Shah, Isaiah 9 and 5.
Mm-hmm. This Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
Right. So this world war that we're entering into is going to be different than your conventional wars. All right, where people just fighting in the in the wilderness somewhere and this and that and the third, man. Nah, this is going to be another type of war, man. Like they mentioned, it's going to be a nuclear. What did they say? Apocalyptic nuclear explosions. All right, you haven't heard about that happening in ages before in any other previous wars, man. Now, you had different bombs and different things that happened before, but this nuclear destruction that's coming, all right, this is all biblical prophecy, man. So this is a whole nother level of war that's coming, man. All right, this war is going to shake the earth. As the scripture says in Lord's will, we can grab that later, And then we can grab that Jeremiah 51, Bible Kashah, and 27.
You said Jeremiah 51, 27?
Khan, Bible Kashah.
This Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 27. It says, set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Menin, I don't know how to say that. And Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars.
Right, now, when you look up those different nations, those are all different areas that surround that Russia region. All right, going into those different nations, back when Russia was known as the USSR. All right, you had those different alliances of nations that were aligned with Russia back then. Well, those same alliances are going to come back together in this time period, man. All right, it goes into it in the book of Ezekiel, the 28th chapter. It talks about those different nations that are going to be aligned with Gog and Magog. That's talking about Russia, man. All right.
If I could read
Con, go
three
ahead.
paragraphs within this article, it'll be a quick little read. CNBC. This came out 14 hours ago, pretty much today, or really yesterday. And in the three paragraphs, it says, we are prepared for diplomacy and for Slakia. I'll read the title of the article within itself. It says, Biden to speak to Putin on Thursday as Russia builds a military presence on Ukraine border. You know, it says, we are prepared for diplomacy and for a diplomatic path forward, but we are also prepared to respond if Russia advances with a further invasion of Ukraine. A senior Biden administration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity in order to share details ahead of the call said Wednesday, and this is the point, we have coordinated, they said, and they quote, and I quote, they said, we have coordinated with our allies to impose severe sanctions on Russia, on the Russian economy and financial system far beyond what was implemented in 2014, the official said, referring to Moscow's 2014 invasion of Crimea, because really this Russian, even though the Lord shall put hooks into Magog's jaws, there's a path to it. And the manifestation is that, you know, Russia and America is beefing over Crimea, just as well as you got Japan and I believe it's the Black Sea. It's one of the seas, but they're pretty much fighting over territory. No, not, it's Taiwan. They're fighting over Taiwan, and Japan and China is fighting over Taiwan, and America is trying to get Japan's back. And they're not really choosing allies because they are diplomatically in league with these people. They're setting up to go against the USSR, Russia. They're setting their defense systems around Russia. That's why they're fighting so hard for Turkey, and they're fighting so hard for Ukraine and Crimea, and so they can set their missile defense systems up around Russia, pretty much boxing them in.
Right, engulfing them. And that's why Russia is taking this so seriously, because there's been different times where different threats have gone out in previous years. You know, America's doing this and that and the third, and Russia's threatened to respond in this way and that way, then it settles down. But as you see, this is way more serious, all right, because they're setting up shop right next door. And they're like, look, we ain't finna have that. All right, and then because for a time period, they weren't America, all right, NATO, they weren't responding to peace talks with Russia. They were just continuing and setting up shop. So Russia was at the point like, look, you continue to do this. This means all out war. But all this is going to biblical prophecy, as it says in the book of Proverbs 21. I'll grab this real quick. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord is controlling, all right, the minds of these people. He's in these councils. All right, the Lord sent his angels to work on the minds of them to bring forth his counsel. All right, because it's the Lord's counsel that shall stand. So it doesn't matter the peace talks that are going down. It doesn't matter what they negotiating about and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, it's going to lead to that all-out nuclear destruction, man, because that's biblical prophecy, right? Now, going back into that Jeremiah, where was you at? Verse, you was still in verse 27?
Yep. You want me to keep going?
Bible, should I read that 28?
This Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 28. It says, prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes.
Now that's key. It says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Now, who's that speaking of, man? This is speaking of Russia prophetically. So these other nations are doing what? Preparing themselves with Russia.
Yep.
All right, because when you look at NATO, NATO is a beast system. All right, what makes NATO so powerful is because of the alliances that it has. All right, it has all these alliances. It's got warships in all these different seas. So if anything is going down, NATO is at your door. America is at your door, right? They can shoot missiles on you at any point and so on and so forth. That's why they've been able to be a big bully, because of the alliance that they have, man, right? And that's why Russia, all right, a key part of a key thing that they're going to be doing prophetically is building up these other alliances with all these other nations, all right, to build up enough strength to actually fight against NATO, to fight against the beast. Like it says in the book of Revelation, it says, who shall make war with the beast? All right. So this system, this alliance that NATO has and these other nations, man, this isn't some light thing. All right. America just isn't no weak ass nation. All right. From a military standpoint, they got shit on lock. So that's why these other nations have to come together with Russia, with their military might, all right, to actually fight against this beast, man. And Russia is going to be the end of this system pursuant to the prophecy in the book of Revelation as well, man.
I got a precept for you, brother.
Come on, go ahead.
Isaiah 14:10, it says, I'm just going to jump to the gun of it. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy boils, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So when it says that, art thou become weak as we, it's talking about these other nations, speaking to Esau, because Esau had that thermonuclear power, and they was able to bully all these countries into submission. But now it's not like that. So they'll say something, and it's like, well, what you gonna do about it? Mm-hmm. America's like, I don't got nothing. It's like, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying? From Iran to Taiwan to, and ultimately is ultimately the beast system, because Crimea is annexing themselves away from Ukraine. They want to leave. But Ukraine is upset about that, and America's backing them being upset. Wait, that's not your business. You got enough business of your own.
Right, that's the beast shall hate the whore.
Yeah. They shall hate the whore because you're doing too much. Pretty much.
Right, yeah, and that, because like the brother had mentioned, the beast shall hate the whore, and that's going into what the alliances that America has with these other nations that they've been in bed with, man. Mm-hmm. It says they that have been confederate with thee have laid a wound under thee. So even it's going to reach to the point to where America's own allies are going to turn against them. That's going to crumble this system.
Yep,
all right,
Egyptian against the Egyptian.
Right, you already see it on that level, but it's gonna go into what with these other nations, with the nations in the UK, all right, and so on and so forth, man. They're gonna shoot missiles upon this place, man. But going back to that Jeremiah, finishing off on that.
This is Jeremiah chapter 51, and I'll read verse 28 again. It says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, and the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon.
Right, so that's letting you know what the target is, man. So these nations are going to be allied together with Russia, the king of the Medes, are to perform the purpose against Babylon, right? Which is what? That nuclear destruction. So what was mentioned in the article about the nuclear apocalyptic events, that's going to happen, man. All right, go ahead.
And it says, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant.
That's right, man. And how's that going to happen? Once again, via the nuclear destruction, man. All right. Like it says back in the Isaiah the 14th chapter that the brother was already reading in, it talks about how the Lord will sweep it with the besom of destruction. All right. So that's what? The nuclear destruction that's going to completely wipe this place out, man.
I got a precept for you.
Go ahead, bro.
This second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 13. It said, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this prophet back then, when he seen this vision, they looked at the missiles as arrows. But now in our lifetime, in this time, we know what they are. Those are nuclear warheads, nuclear missiles.
That's right, because what it says, they shall be shot in the ends of the earth. You didn't have an arrow that could be shot from one end of the earth even to another end of the earth in that time period.
Right.
All right, so letting you know, like the brother has said, man, they were seeing these things and describing it to the best of their ability, man. Mm-hmm. But that's what it's talking about, man. That was it on that?
You can't, you can get into the politics. There's brothers that's more, cunning and know about it more. But at the end of the day, truth is truth. Russia, which is the Medes, according to the scriptures, want to make war with America, which is Babylon, according to the scriptures. So the Medes and Babylon are beefing. And then there's scripture to back it up,
Mm-hmm. That's it. We can grab that Joel, The third chapter, Bible Kashah, Joel 3, and we can start at like verse 9.
This Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. It said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near.
Right, and that's what you see happening, man. All right, these nations preparing for war. As a matter of fact, I'll pull up this article here, and you can keep reading on that as a matter of fact.
Verse 10. No, that verse 2, this is like, man.
Go ahead.
And then I'll read verse 2 and then jump down.
Come.
This Joel chapter 3 and verse 2 say, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So the Lord is getting ready to gather all these nations. Back down to verse 10.
That's right, because even if you jump over to Joel, the second chapter, it talks about how the Lord will move far from their border, the northern army.
Yep,
all right.
Yep.
That's talking about how the Lord is going to be moving the American military over into the Middle East. All right, for war and to bring forth his judgment, as the brother read. You know, because in their mind they're thinking, okay, we're gonna do this for war, to set up this and that and the third, right? To do fight. They got all these political agendas in their mind, not realizing that the Lord is just gathering y'all niggas up so that he can execute his judgment upon you, man. That's why it says the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right, in the Hebrew, that's what? Yahweh Shaphat, meaning Yahweh's judgment, right? So the Lord is going to gather up those nations and he's going to execute judgment upon them. Because what's going to happen prophetically, we can read about in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and various places as well. All right, but what you're going to be happening, the nations are going to be fighting against one another. All right, and then Yahweh Shai is going to come and a massive chariot with the angels. All right, and he's going to judge those other nations, man. Okay?
Right, because like you mentioned earlier, you say, who shall make war with the beast? Yahweh Shai going to make war with the beast. You know, because it said he judge and make war. Like it says in Revelation. The Lord going to go to war with this devil, man.
That's right. That's true. That's true.
Back in this Joel chapter 3 and verse 9, it said, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. It say, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
Right, so how would you apply that in this time period, man? All right, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. So the money that you might be using for your agriculture or for whatever else it may be, you're going to start investing into war.
Into your war. Yep.
And that's what we see happening right now. And that's why I wanted to pull up this article. This is from RT as well. It says, this is from December 28, 2021. It says, Biden signs $768 billion military spending bill. All right. It says the U.S. administration devotes $300 million in security aid to Ukraine amid mounting tensions with Russia. All right, so it's letting it be known that this is what's going on. Here it is. We're in the midst of a pandemic, right? The money isn't getting put towards that. They putting their money into this World War III.
And that's not a government-based fund transaction. That's private. You know, it's not like the U.S. is funding them people. This is, you know, it's like Mark Zuckerberg in his weaponries, you know, a company, you know, sharing that information, man. You know, because ultimately, so they don't really care about the people and the repercussions of what happened to the American citizen, man.
All right.
You know,
That's it. Con, that's facts. You can keep reading, bro.
And it says, I read again, this Joel chapter 3 verse 10, it say, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
Right, so that's all those other nations that once didn't have nuclear capabilities, right? These were once weak nations. That's why now you got nations like North Korea, all right, nations like
China.
The Philippines, you know what I'm saying? Like different nations that at one point they weren't powerhouses and whatnot, but now they're strong because of what? They're ultimately strong because the alliance that they're going to be having with Russia. All right, because if you read in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, which goes into Gog and Magog, right? It talks about how they will be a defense, all right, and an aid to the other nations that they're allied with. So that's why you see different things happening where Russia is funding this nation, Russians funding that nation. All right, they're sending warships to this people and that people, and military equipment here and there. And what is that doing? That's building up those other nations, making them strong. So at first they didn't.
Yeah, it's like it. Meanwhile, Babylon's putting sanctions on everybody, man. Trying to choke everybody out. and everybody. At the end of the day, you go on to Revelations 18 chapter, people are dealing with the delicacies. They're not dealing with America because they're the best dude on planet Earth. They're dealing with them because Babylon is a consumer nation, and the world needs people to buy their product, you know, and the Americans do it. But once that start going to shit, these other countries ain't. Yeah, they're gonna go back to their
natural resort.
Their natural resort, their natural habitat, their natural people. You know.
You want me to keep going?
Come on, Baba Kushah.
Verse 11, it say, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, did the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
Right, and how's the Lord going to judge the heathen round about? Isaiah 66 and 15. Says, for the Lord will come with fire in his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebukes with a flame of fire, man. All right. That's how the Lord is going to plead, man. All right. Through what? Through the fire coming out of them chariots, man. To render his anger with fury, man. So the Lord is going to be bringing in mass judgment upon these other nations, man. All right. And then he's going to reign. Okay. Then the Lord's kingdom is going to be established upon the planet Earth. So that's going to be the end all be all. Right.
Say he wanted his head many crowns. You know, when the Lord come back, he gonna conquer these governors. You know.
That's it. That's it. Hey, the scriptures talk about how the Lord in the Psalms, the 2nd chapter, it says, "Ask of me, and I will give the heathen for thine inheritance." Man. All right. So the Lord is gonna get what he asked for, man. All right.
Yep.
He's gonna rule over the over these nations with a rod of iron, man, and give that authority, all right, to his men as well, man, underneath them. Right. Was that it on that? Con, and I wanted to hit this real quick because they talked about how it was going to be a world-ending catastrophe because this nuclear destruction isn't going to be a joke at all, man. And I want to hit this in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken, in verse let me see, Jeremiah chapter 9. Actually, it's not chapter 9. Let me just type it in real quick. Real to and fro. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, it's Isaiah. This is Isaiah chapter 24 and 20. It says, I'm going to start at verse 19. It says, the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean, dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. All right, how is this going to happen? Via the nuclear destruction, man. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. All right, so that's what's going to happen, man. This nuclear destruction is going to shake the world, man. That's going to be catastrophic. All right, even Habakkuk in the 3rd chapter, he said that the waves lifted up their hands on high, man. So when the Lord shakes the earth, tsunamis.
So I was saying, did we mention the fact that as the Lord prophesied that Babylon should be destroyed and never be inhabited?
Con.
And that's proof right there, because that land is technically inhabited to this day. And we all know, pursuant to Revelations, that this place is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, you know, which shows that the land can be called spiritually a place. And then you go to Psalms where it references that Esau is the daughter of Babylon, and daughter of Babylon should be destroyed by fire and brimstone.
That's right. That's right.
Get it, Bob. Shot, brother.
Con, this is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse man, I'm gonna start at verse 16. It says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, speaking to the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
Because what holds all the countries off is their delicacies. You know, so Babylon's going to do something to where money is not going to cover it. Okay?
It says, verse 17, verse 17 again, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. Right, that's talking about the nuclear missiles, man. Okay, it says, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children.
Yeah, because everybody say do it for the kids. Once a missile drop, it ain't got no like I'm gonna move around the kids, you know. So Esau is setting up all this and using a thermonuclear missile, but then he like to paint the picture of somebody's being inhumane because they're willing to attack kids. But what you think a nuclear missile does? You know, it's even worse that they've been busted for what they've been doing to these military niggas that do the drone shit. They've been killing innocent people, and they be knowing they're innocent.
Come.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's why
children and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they see that shit. They see kids playing kickball, and then you let the shit go, and it's nothing. And that's why motherfuckers be coming home fucked up. You know, because of the beast in the system, man. Ultimately, their goal is to get resources. You know.
Yep. It says, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation.
There you go. It's inhabited to this day. So that's not the same Sodom and Gomorrah, or you could say Babylon. Is not the same place, because that wouldn't line up with prophecies. The Lord is talking about Babylon, which is America.
Where his people gonna be captives at?
What you say?
Majority of his people gonna be captives at.
Yeah,
the Israelites.
That's another context clue right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so once this place is destroyed, as it says in Revelations the 18th chapter, it was gonna be the hold of every foul, unclean, and hateful bird, and them birds and animals. Within the same chapter,
Yep. It says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there.
And the Arabians are pitching tent in the historical land plot of Babylon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then but since we know what it's talking about prophetically, it ain't finna be like here today. You got Arabs that they setting up shop here and there and this and that and the third, getting money off of America. Ain't finna be none of that, man. It's gonna be completely flat out, man. All right, the Lord, it's not, well, we're gonna continue to read it. It says, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there.
Yeah, I know Starbucks is gonna be owls, rattlesnakes, hares, cactus. This whole place is going to be Las Vegas desert, man.
It's going to be a desolate.
That's it. It says, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So that's it, man. So we at the end of this thing, all right? Here it is, I remember cats scoffing our elders and apostles and scoffing the sign because it said the USSR and Russia's going to destroy America and this and that and the third. But lo and behold, they talking about it in your media, man. Mm-hmm. All right, which has already been spoken about, all right, in the Holy Scriptures, man.
Yeah, the whole fake news and, emails, Hillary Clinton, you know what I'm saying? It's already brewing. There's nothing that Jake or Esau can do. You can shut down channels, you can, demonize us, but at the end of the day, the truth is going to manifest.
That's it. Brothers had any closing precepts?
Yeah, I got
I
got that song. This song, chapter 137 and verse 7. It say, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Verse 8, it said, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. The Lord gonna judge Edom. That deadly wound being healed. The Lord is this wound right here ain't gonna be healed this time, man.
Yeah, and he's setting it up. He's got a trick bag because you got going into Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, when it says the Carmanians shall rage against them. Mm-hmm. And that's talking about the United Arab Nation, man, and how they're operating, because not just Iran, but it's a United Arab Nation that they've configured. And that's going to represent the Carmanians coming against Babylon, and it's going to take a portion of their army. It's going to break them down,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one more. This Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 1. It says, "Come near ye nations to hear, and hearken ye people. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them, he had delivered them to the slaughter." And that's what's coming. The Lord is getting ready to gather all these nations to deliver them to the slaughter for their judgment. You know?
That's right. That's right. You might as well keep reading on that.
Verse 3 say that their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll.
Right. Talking about what? A nuclear, a mushroom cloud, man.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead.
And it says, "And all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree."
Right. The same way that John described it. I believe that's in Revelation. It might be the 6th chapter. You know, he talks about the stars falling from heaven. You know, what is that speaking about, man? The nuclear missiles raining down upon this place, man. Go ahead.
Verse 6, it said, "The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness."
You skip verse 5.
Also like it. Verse 5, it say, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven."
Right. Now, the scriptures talk about the weapons of the Lord's indignation. All right. That's talking about the nuclear missiles, man. So the Lord, like it says, the Lord created the smith, all right, to blow on the coals, roughly paraphrasing, man. Pretty much going into how the Lord put it in the mind of these scientists, all right, to create these nuclear missiles, but these are his weapons.
Right.
All right.
The Lord's spirit is in those nuclear weapons. You know, the Lord is causing the Lord is in control.
That's it. That's it.
I'm gonna keep reading. It say, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea."
That's it. That's talking about here in America, man. Okay. Greek way of saying Edom. This is their chief dwelling place, man. Right? Go ahead.
It says, so like it says what was that?
Verse 5.
It says Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. It says, "The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh had a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea."
That's right, man. So great judgment is going to come down upon this place. That's why in the book of Job, I believe it's in the 20th chapter. All right, it says, "It shall go ill with him that's left in this tabernacle," man. So anybody that's left here in America that's not a part of the elect, they're going to be completely obliterated, man. All right, via the nuclear destruction, man. Scriptures talk about the day that shall burn like an oven. All right, talks about your eyes melting. All right, while you stand upon your feet, your tongue melting while you upon your feet, man. So this ain't gonna be nothing light. You can keep going. We'll read it at verse 8.
Verse 7, it say, "And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, in the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion."
That's right, man. All right. So really, this is going to be a part of the judgment. The part of the judgment coming down upon this place. All right, it's because of what's been done unto the Lord's chosen people. It talks about how the Lord is it talks about in the book of Revelation how this Babylon is filled with the blood of the saints. All right, so now the Lord required that which is past, man. So since the bloodshed of the Israelites was upon this place, right, the Lord is going to completely destroy this place, man. Like it says in the book of Baruch, "Miserable are the cities which thou hast served," man.
Yep,
All right,
because you touched the apple of the Lord's eye.
That's right.
You know, so now you got to pay for that.
That's right. It says, "Miserable is she that received thy sons," man. And who received us? Babylon. All right, Isaiah the 47th chapter, it talks about how the Lord delivered us into their hands, right? And they showed us no mercy and no pity. So this is all a part of the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh to come upon this place because of what's been done unto his chosen people, man.
Yep, rewarding them double as they rewarded you.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Recompense.
Double unto her according to her works as she rewarded thee.
That's
The
right.
only difference is that we're not going to go off. As Esau went off during our punishment, but we're not going to deviate from the laws, you know.
That's right. That's right. Brothers, have anything else? Hey, Khan, so Lord's what I was edifying. We're going to end it right there and give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and in truth. With that, we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom.